Before we start, I'm going to give a trigger warning of unaliving oneself, and that's the only time that I'm going to phrase it like that, so you've been warned. Growing up, I used to watch the same Christmas movies every year until one year I realized I wasn't excited anymore and I stopped doing that. I still obviously enjoy consuming a lot of festive content, but now I try to keep it to ones that I haven't seen before to keep things fresh. I do, however, keep a rewatchable Christmas movies playlist on my Letterboxd. Last year, I tried finding a new one to add to that list, and this year, I'm doing the same. All of my Hallmark viewings are in other videos throughout the month. This one is everything Christmas I watched that was not Hallmark. Starting with The Holdovers from 2023. This is about a grumpy kid who gets stuck at a private school over Christmas break with his grumpy teacher. I did enjoy this one. I gave it 4 out of 5, but for me personally, I don't think it's rewatchable. It's really touching, sad, and at times beautiful, so I do recommend it, but I'm not going to rewatch it. Editing voiceover here. In rewatching the trailer, I think I totally would rewatch this movie, and I was drunk when writing this originally. So I would say it's rewatchable, even if it's not one of this year's new favorites. Next, I finally watched Die Hard from 1988. I grew up constantly told that this isn't a Christmas movie, so I never bothered watching it. But it played at the cinema this year, so I figured, why not try it? It's definitely a Christmas movie after all. An estranged husband goes to visit his wife at her work's Christmas party when a team of thieves led by Alan Rickman breaks in and holds them hostage. Only Bruce Willis is free in the building and barefoot and fucking them up. I love how I'm describing this movie as if pretty much everyone hasn't already seen it. I feel like it's up there with Home Alone. You never know, though. Anyway, I gave it a 4.5 rating and I added it to my rewatch list. 2 movies in and I've already got one for the team. The next one was not nearly as great, though. It's a Wonderful Knife from 2023. A horrible, stabby Christmas horror movie. A teenager saves her town from a killer and then gets sent to a parallel universe where that killer is still killing everyone. Not my cup of cocoa. I gave it a full star for the lesbian energy, but that's all it had going for it. Journey to Bethlehem from 2023 is movie number 4. It's a musical telling of the Virgin Mary, starring Antonio Banderas and the guy from the Disney Channel movie series Zombies. I actually did enjoy some of the music in this, but extreme religion isn't my favorite, so it's not a new favorite for me. I'll give it a light recommend for anyone who likes musicals, though. Next is Candy Cane Lane from 2023. Eddie Murphy plays Chris, a man who is so determined to win a house decorating contest that he wishes on an elf but doesn't read the fine print, and she basically curses the 12 days of Christmas onto him. It's okay, has your typical Christmas corny humor, but I didn't love it. A 2.5 from me and not rewatchable. Beavis and Butthead Do Christmas from 1995 is next. I was obsessed with the show as a kid, so I probably have seen this before, but I have no recollection of it, so I'm including it here. It's a 2-part episode, one where Beavis travels through the past, present, and future, and another where they're both Santa and read letters written to them. They also do their classic channel flipping. I enjoy this and would rewatch for sure, but the show is super nostalgic for me, so I don't know how much weight that holds. I gave it a 3.5 star rating, but I do wish Beavis didn't make his very not vegan burger in the opening scene. Jim Carrey's addition to the very large collection of A Christmas Carol adaptations from 2009 is next. This has been in the back of my head to watch since its release, and I finally got around to it. The thing that got me the most is this entire time waiting to watch this, I always thought it was a live-action movie. Certain animation styles confuse me a lot. There's still some CGI that confuses me, like in Alita, but I think I'm pretty good at knowing when an entire movie is animated now. Or at least I hope I am. I'm not going to bore you with a description of the film since it's a classic and you probably have an idea already, but I will add that Jim Carrey's face edited onto the flaming head of the ghost is so funny to me, and I want a live-action version of Elemental with him just like that. Overall, I gave this a 3 and added it to the rewatchable list, but it's not a favorite by any means. Next is the classic It's a Wonderful Life from 1946. I've definitely seen parts of this before, but I've never sat down to watch it straight through, so that's a first for me this year, and probably a last, as I did not enjoy it. An annoying man kills himself over money, and angels go, "Oh, no, no, no," and then a town gives him money? Like, what the hell is that? Why is this so popular? I chose to watch the critically acclaimed Star Wars Holiday Special from 1978 next, and boy, was that a doozy. I'm so curious what drugs the writers were taking when they wrote this and how much they paid the main cast to be in this. People seem to hate this a lot, but I think it's so bad that it's good. There isn't really a cohesive plotline, and parts of it feel like children's shows, like Out of the Box, but that's the beauty of it. There's even an animated segment to it. It's 100% rewatchable. 3 out of 5 from me. Love Actually from 2003 is next. I'm not sure why I never got around to watching this, but I finally did. This is one of those mass different storyline movies, and I'm not a fan of that style. It doesn't give me enough time to actually care for any of the characters. I still gave it a 3 because I like Liam Neeson's storyline, and the movie as a whole was tolerable enough to finish, but it's not being added to the rewatch list. It's labeled as a romance, but all of the relationships in it are really inappropriate. Hugh Grant and his employee, Alan Rickman cheating on his wife, co-workers, Keira Knightley kisses her new husband's best friend. Why do so many cheating movies call themselves romantic? Cheating has never and will never be romantic. Okay, moving right along to The Princess Switch from 2018. Vanessa Hudgens and Vanessa Hudgens swap places so she can be an ordinary baker and the other so she can be a princess. While swapped, the baker falls in love with the prince and the princess falls in love with the baker's best friend. It is a whole cheese fest with all of the ingredients of Hallmark and Disney Channel's finest. I was thoroughly entertained, and it's been added to the rewatch list. I went right ahead to the sequel, The Princess Switch Switched Again from 2020. I'm not going to explain too much of it because I'm confused and don't fully understand. The parts that I did understand were that the European Vanessa Hudgens and the American guy had a falling out, but now they're having a falling back in. And the American Vanessa Hudgens got into a rut with the prince, trying to be perfect and then remembered just to let loose and be herself. And they threw in a third Vanessa Hudgens that's trying to fuck shit up and be a menace. This one was okay, but I'm not adding it to the rewatch list, and it dropped down 1.5 stars from the first one. I finished out the trilogy and watched The Princess Switch 3 from 2021 next. I feel like these slowly get worse and worse. I can't stand the third Vanessa Hudgens character, and the plots get weirder and weirder, and not in a good way. You can't really replicate the charming cheese of the first film, unfortunately. Definitely not rewatch worthy. I traveled back to 1945 next and watched Christmas in Connecticut. It was not a new favorite at all. For some reason, a lot of these Christmas movies involve cheating, and that's one of my biggest icks in movies. At first, I was really enjoying this. A woman was pretending to be married and developed a crush on a man. It was innocent enough, and then the man started getting way too close while still thinking that she's married. And then you find out that he was engaged the whole time. His fiancée shows up and says that she married someone else. What is that? Can we not glamorize cheating? I gave it a 2 since I did enjoy the beginning, but it's not a rewatcher. Next up is White Reindeer from 2013. I don't remember how I heard about this, but it's been on my to-watch Christmas list for a while. It's about a real estate agent who's a mess and is trying to find the Christmas spirit. It feels like it tries to be an indie classic, but to me, it felt more like a film school project. It has positive reviews, but I'll only give it a 1. I was recommended a video of a dance number from White Christmas from 1954 and was highly intrigued, so I watched that next and absolutely adored it. I don't want to spoil anything because I highly recommend watching it yourself. I will say that the costumes are stunning and I want all of them as my 2024 wardrobe, and the dance numbers are so good. I love this movie so much. Definitely a new favorite. Our final movie for the 2023 Christmas season is A Silent Night from this year. It's nice when I can bump a movie off my Christmas to watch list and my cinema to watch list at the same time. Sadly, I did not enjoy this though. It's full of cliche gang stuff and doesn't feel Christmassy at all. He's just waiting until Christmas Eve to kill a bunch of gang members. Not a fan. And that's all from my 2023 new favorite Christmas movie hunt. Okay, just kidding. While editing, I saw an ad for Genie that came out this year, and I watched that. I loved it. It's definitely rewatchable. Melissa McCarthy plays a genie who helps a man get his family back, and they develop a wholesome friendship. I'm glad I squeezed that one in last minute. I found a few rewatchables, more so for including my Hallmark viewings. My favorites that I checked out this year are Die Hard and White Christmas from this list, and A Season for Miracles, which I watched in my Hallmark Bingo series. I will continue to make these over the years until I can't find any that I want to watch anymore, but for now, I have a bunch of Hallmark videos in the works and a few big projects as well. See you next time, and happy holidays.